Okay, so here is the Kobalt 24-volt trimmer with an EGO head mounted on it, AH1530. And the rest of this video is showing you how to install it. I'm going to remove this head and put the old head back on, show you how to take that off, and everything you need to do to put this on. Okay, so I'm back. So this is the SpeedFeed head that I've been using for the last 2 years. Still in great shape, and probably could be used for a couple more years. Did the bulletproofing, what they call putting a bolt in the head. I think it actually works because I was starting to get a lot of wear on the top of mine. This is still a very good alternative, but I'm going to show you why this might actually be better. I have not actually used it yet, just letting you know. Alright, so to remove the old head, you just pop these two spots. I had it partially off. And all you're going to need is a deep well or deep socket, 13mm, and a ratchet. And I'm going to say one flat blade screwdriver. I got a couple with me because I'm not sure which one's going to be easier, because the EGO head is kind of difficult to take apart. But I'll show you where you want to press it for that. Alright, so we pull these guys out, and this is really the culprit. Them using this as opposed to something that allows you to feed through the head without having to remove it. The other thing was, this doesn't want to, I mean, this thing spins, but it doesn't really do anything other than that. The pressure to push it in to get it to spin, it was always kind of difficult for me, so I don't know if it was just because of the one I had, but I hate this thing. Anyways, 13mm, because everything I'm doing to take this off is what you're going to do in reverse to put the other one on. And all you're doing is holding this. This is what's keeping it from spinning. And that's one thing that you didn't have with the SpeedFeed head. Alright, so, and this just comes straight off. This is a bushing that needs to stay. The EGO instructions call it a flange, but this is what the head rides on without being connected to the body. And this allows for the motor to spin. Alright, so again, this is the base of the other one. This is actually a nut that came with the EGO head, and you'll find that it's inside of the head when you get it, so you're going to hear a rattle, and that's what that is. Alright, so the EGO head comes in 3 pieces. You got your top, they've actually redesigned from a previous version. And there's a reason that this is a really good thing. The spool, and actually where it mounts, and then the base. And this is what I saw when I was at work. And these actually have the same part number. PPS GF30, and then all the things 051022A. So I'm thinking when I saw it that this is going to be a direct swap. And when it comes down to it, it is. Alright, so you're setting that on there, and that's how it rides on there, but it's not indexed. That's what this, on the shaft where it has 2 flat sides, that means indexing. I'm going to slide this on here, just like that. I'm now turning the motor, as well, which means I'm moving that shaft. Alright, so this is where you really need this deep socket. You could do it with a regular socket to get started, but I don't know if you can get it all the way down without gnarling out the ends here. So I'm just going to hold that like that, press it right on top. That didn't quite work. I guess I got to turn it at least once. Come on, get on top of there. Alright, that feels like it started. And it did. Okay, this is a standard right hand thread, so it's right to tighten, left to loosen. And all you're doing is holding the center. The outside is going to spin, and that's actually is the same way that the SpeedFeed was. So if you hold this spool and tighten this down, And you don't have to go crazy with it because these are designed for when you spin, is actually making the nut tighter. So I'm going to say that's enough. Because of the flange or the bushing, the motor is able to spin without any noise. You're not hearing any scraping. All right, so then we have this. And if you see all these notches, those notches are the reason you're going to be able to load this in any position. Because it's how the line feeds through. All right. So we got our 2 clips in here. And this is the one thing about the EGO that's a little different is you've got to use a fair amount of force to get this thing to lock. Come on. I might even have to do one side and then the other. There it goes. That's one side, and that's the other. So you got to hear the 2 clicks. All right. So the top is how you well, I'm going to call it the top because it's technically the bottom. This is where you're going to rotate, and this is your rotation to bring in your spool. And you got 2 eyelets here and here. So let me grab some line. And just so you know, as long as your line is round, you can probably use a 105 line. This is Husqvarna Titanium X Pro, not affiliated, not an endorsement. I mean, not a paid endorsement. And I've got, this is 0.105, this is 95, there's my 105. And actually what's in the center is the Titanium Force. That's where I started with Husqvarna's line. I wish I would have tried the X Pro first, because it's almost indestructible, as other people have said. All right, so this is only about 7 feet. If you find you have a hard time reloading these things, don't put all of it in. Don't put like the full amount in, because that means it's going to be that much longer before you refeed it. If you're putting in a shorter amount, you're going to refeed more often. You may not like that, but you're going to learn how to do it. All right, so I haven't changed any positions. I'm sliding it through. Come on, you're going to feel a little bit of resistance, and there it is. All right, so this is already in there without doing anything. I'm going to pull it back out, turn it like 2 clicks. I'm going to do it again. Again, pops in. Doesn't matter where it's at. Doesn't matter which side, because it could be the other side. There we go, flipping the other side. Come on. Trying to prove me wrong. All right, maybe it does like the other side better. You might find one side works better. Anyways, you take this to where you can get both sides even. Okay. And you come and just hold this part here and turn this clockwise. Now the guard on the Kobalt is a 12-inch guard. This is actually the guard that comes on the newer version that will allow you to do 12 or 14. It sticks out a little bit further. But one thing to know is this head should not work on the new 14-inch multi-tool. And I think it's because the other... I have not seen that one, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to get it on there because it has the kind of head that comes on a Craftsman gas mower that does do this way. I mean, it's a good, you don't have to take it apart to load it. All right. So it's ready to go. Again, I love the SpeedFeed head. It did everything I needed it to do. Still solid. But I think this is going to be a better option. The motor is not exposed. You've got the fan on it just like the original. To me, it actually looks factory. So the next video, on the next part of the video, is just me using this, and this will be the first time I've ever used it. See you at the end. So here we are post cutting. Again, this is the head that they come with. I think the biggest, well, I don't know if it is, but one thing that I notice is they're trying to sell you more spools. Instead of you re-spooling it yourself, you just buy it. But after you bought at least 2 packs of the 3 packs or whatever, you've already bought a head that you don't need to do that with. Anyhow, I just keep this around for sentimental reasons or for demos on these videos. Again, the SpeedFeed head was wonderful. And I can kind of see why this might still be a better for long term, but because it's not exposing the top, whereas this did, I think I'm going to go to the EGO AH1530 rapid reload head. It'll come in a package with plastic on the top and inside. Again, it's going to rattle, and that's the nut that you're going to use to the new nut you're going to use to retain it with. So when you get this and you're going to take it apart, you're going to push in here. It takes quite a bit of force. You're only going, well, me, I can only do one at a time, and then when you get to the second one, you got to relax the other side a little bit enough that you can get it out. But if you're pushing in right here, or even pushing in here. Actually, the first one I did here, but on the second one I had to do at the top. I'm not going to take it off because, well, at least not in this video. But it works really well. I didn't bump the line, but there's where you can see what the line looks like. It's got a wire inside of it, and that might be what is making it last so much longer. So it didn't bump or need to be bumped that whole time. Granted, it's not a big space, but... And one thing you'll find is, I mean, I'm showing you the 105, but I'm showing it to myself mostly because I was using 105 with the SpeedFeed head and didn't have too much problem. It does want to bog down in the grass a little bit, so the motor may not be strong enough to really support that. But you're probably going to be fine to use the .095 Titanium X Pro if you want a line that you may get 10 foot inside of it and never have to put any more the rest of the season. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Appreciate a like. I'm not getting monetized for this at all, but let me know that people are watching it. Thank you.